buckets. From around the world to your backyard.
ZUZU Radio.
Welcome to ZUZU Radio. I'm your host, Brandon. I'm here with
Mike Santillo.
Justin John Smith.
Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for making the time. I'm sure it's hard when you've got kind of like a business empire going here. So I appreciate you coming through. Mammoth Studios, Mammoth Cannabis. You guys are small business owners. It seems like it would be a lot of work to run one business, let alone two. Is it a lot of work?
It is a lot of work. Yeah, officially. Yeah.
I would agree. But it's satisfying work.
I feel like many people have one business going and think like, okay, this is a lot, but I can manage it. I'll make it work, and it's my passion, so I'm gonna go through with it. But you guys already had one of those businesses established, and then you decided to take this leap into the world of cannabis. And I guess, what was the conversation like when you realized this was something that you wanted to do, and what got you going in that direction?
I think it was excitement when we got the news that the process was available. New York State was going to legalize, and we were going to have the opportunity to open up a dispensary. Mike and I obviously already had the studio, and we were also already kind of in that business world, the cannabis world.
Because music and cannabis go hand in hand in a way?
It wasn't illegal. It wasn't legal then, but we were there.
Yeah.
Were we selling? I don't know. I'm not going to say one way or the other. But
Plead the fifth.
But we, we were already acquainted somewhat with that industry. So it was a really welcome opportunity to kind of legitimize other business passions that we were already sort of doing into something that was legal.
Yeah. Does it still blow your mind that it's legal?
No. I think
it does every now and then.
It blows my mind. I just feel like all the guilt I have has not gone away yet. That feeling of like, I'm going to get locked up, man.
Right.
The years of just like training your brain that this is bad.
Yeah. Society's telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about that a lot. But I mean, I feel like you're absolutely right that music and cannabis sort of go hand in hand. Why is that? Why do they work so well together? I feel like, you could say that alcohol has played a big role in the music industry as well, but I don't think it goes as well with music.
Definitely not.
What's your sense for that?
My feeling is that both go very well with music. There's something like when I'm, it's not like I rely on either cannabis or alcohol to be creative, but when I am being creative and I also partake in both things, it's like, I don't know, just like a euphoria, like an enhancement. So like, it's like all of the, I don't know, it's like a building effect. And
it's an entourage effect.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. In conjunction, alcohol and cannabis?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's something disinhibiting about alcohol. That's science,
Sure.
There's something, maybe I should say disinhibiting socially about alcohol, and then there's something disinhibiting, like, creatively about cannabis, it seems like, right?
And that's why I think it goes perfectly with music. It unlocks potentially this aspect of your brain that just blows the doors open for the creative world when you're listening, writing, partaking in music. At least it has for me.
Yeah. So the difference, how would you describe the different experience of being creative in a sober mindset versus under the influence of cannabis mindset?
I would, for myself, I would compare it to sort of having a blur. Okay, so sober mindset, right? In the creative process, sometimes there's a blur. I would say around my vision, my third eye vision.
Yeah.
And maybe it's more a narrow focus, but oftentimes consuming some cannabis will just totally wipe away that blur into like a really refined clarity and a much wider view of what I'm experiencing or where my thoughts are going, and help me unlock deeper places creatively. I think easier. Not that they're not there, I think already. Just it's a creative medicine.
Yeah. Mike, do you agree?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it can help you maybe detach from other things and just be solely focused in the creative realm, which is, kind of aloof perhaps and like not grounded
Right.
or not always. I don't know if that's like a good thing or not, but I definitely feel that way. Being creative, you can get lost in it all on its own. And I just think like, the euphoria from cannabis just like makes it more so, Yeah.
Yeah. I've been thinking about the idea of like dopamine seeking behavior. Like a lot of culture now is conditioned to use their phone for that particular thing. And sometimes you hear of like getting the dopamine crush, like you've scrolled so much that your dopamine is gone and then you're tired from looking at your phone. What I've noticed is that I started creative ideas in a sober mindset, and I'm like kind of chugging along, and I'm like, okay, I'm sort of like pushing through the mud of it. But then I take a little cannabis, and suddenly my willingness to chase an idea, my legs are stronger, like I'm running towards it instead of like kind of like forcing my way towards it. Sort of like what you said, the door's opening a little more. And I wondered if maybe cannabis is having this reaction where it flips a switch and says, look for dopamine, look for like a reward experience. And I've spent, decades teaching myself that music is the reward experience. It's my video game, And so do you, outside of like the creative world, do you sense that sort of like, now I feel like open to trying to like chase after something that's going to give me fulfillment? Is that like a part of it for you?
I don't know. For me, my relationship with cannabis is like, love, hate, not so much hate, but I need to be careful with it because I do think it affects everyone a little differently, and what effects positively it has on one person, it might have a negative effect on another person.
Right.
But for me, it really enhances my, I would say, open-mindedness. And I think what the dopamine reaction that is happening is not so much the cannabis, but it's allowing me to see something new and exciting, or make a connection. It's somehow helping a connection being made that I didn't see or have before. And when new connections are made, I think that's when you get that reaction. So it does kind of couple with the chemistry of the brain at the same time, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's solely the thing that's creating the dopamine reaction. I think it's more about seeing a new thing, whether it be a creative connection or whatever. I think that's where a lot of that comes from. But I don't know. And at the same time, I think if you smoke too much weed or whatever, you also get that crash. There's certainly a type of crash that comes along with it. So it does deplete at the same time. It's a give and take,
Yeah. Huh. It's funny how weed is one of those drugs that affects every person so differently. Some people have no creative experience on it. And they like want to go hide. Other people, it's the door opening, and it's just strange to think about this plant that grows in the ground, that's been around forever, and that cultures have used in so many ways, in so many ceremonies and things over time, becoming this sort of like mainstream. Like it's just weird to see it become accepted in culture and not fringe. Which is great for you guys in running your business, which we will get to the business stuff. But I just think it's so interesting to me, like how entwined cannabis and creativity are. And you listen to people like Miles Davis or people that talk about the creative aspects always usually circle back to when you want to refine something, you probably need to stop smoking weed and like in a sober mindset, refine, because it's not like the headspace to do that part of the work.
Agreed. It's not easy. It's not easy to
It's more broad strokes.
Yeah, it's not easy to close the project up when you're too high.
Right. The doors are open, so anything's possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Eternally.
Yeah, you kind of need to like narrow, unnarrow, maybe narrow again.
So, okay, let's circle back to this conversation about starting the business, right? So you've got the studio going, and you're holding that weight, right? And then one day, does one of you guys walk in the door and go, "I've got it, weed. Let's add it to the business plan"?
I think it was more of a gradual thing. And because the process of how New York State rolled out the cannabis program was so slow and gradual,
Yeah.
As soon as it became a thing, almost immediately Justin and I were talking about it, and not necessarily going for it, but then more and more stuff would come out, and we would start to talk more and be like, do we want to actually pursue this? And we ended up doing it. But yeah, no, it wasn't like an aha moment, I guess.
Yeah, I think we were in the right place with the right things lined up already to make it a reality, because it was daunting at first with the amount of things that you needed to already kind of have in place to even think that you could open a dispensary. At least at that time, it seemed like it was almost like impossible. But we realized that we had potential locations already available to us, which was a really big thing.
Yeah.
And we had some other resources available to us, luckily, that made it more of a possibility. So that was a big part, I think, of us deciding. I don't know if you agree with that, Mike, but I think that was probably...
For sure, yeah. It was an alignment of things that if one of those things wasn't there, we might not have done it.
Right. So having the studio set up, I mean, you have your brand even. Mammoth is already established, right? And then the building you're in has space for other businesses. So yeah, so you kind of had like all the pieces in place,
Right.
to start playing the game.
And plus, in conjunction with all that, I was already, I selling cannabis. So we were like already doing that on, little side hustle.
Yeah.
So it just really worked out for us, luckily, that we had those pieces in play. Not that I don't think we could have, I think we could still have done it without those pieces if we really wanted to, but I think the motivation and the confidence that we could get it done was higher because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I think it takes a leap of faith to establish your own business in any way, whatever the business is. And then once you've done one, you kind of prove to yourself that you can do it, right? And so you have the confidence going into, if you hit the obstacles, you can kind of be like, okay, well, I've gone through this once before and I can get around this.
Yeah.
Just a little confidence there.
Yeah.
Some esteem. Well, this plays right into what you're talking about, I guess, does the local music community shape how you own and operate Mammoth Cannabis? Like you said, you're doing your little side hustle, but now you've taken it into this like business form. And were there things that you learned as you moved it into this more established thing?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we learned a lot more about the plant itself and the different aspects of it, because when you're just moving a little bit on the side, no one's asking you. I mean, maybe you have an idea of what strain it is. Maybe you don't even have that.
What are the terpenes on this?
Yeah, right. So we learned a lot about the plant, how it functions with the body. It does affect everyone differently, but, you try your best to kind of like recommend things based on what a lot of anecdotal evidence has shown, So, yeah, I think more than anything, we've just become more knowledgeable about cannabis and its uses and all of that. But it's like a never-ending amount of information, it feels like. So, still always learning more.
Yeah, and as the business breaks down in between you guys, is there a third partner also?
So there's
more than that?
Yeah. There's 4 of us actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we name drop them?
Sure. One of them is my mother.
All right.
Big support with the property and also investment. And then our friend Casey also huge help with getting the business up and running, and now we're all actively involved in it still too.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
One of the things I love most about weed being legal is understanding what I'm getting. There were times where you'd wait around till 1 a.m. for your guy to show up with what could have been oregano, maybe. I mean, just like the brickest of brick, awful, and that's all you had access to. That's all you could do. And now you're looking at endless varieties. I mean, it's like, in a way, the world of coffee and the world of cannabis or even wine feel similar. There's like so much variety and so much nuance to it. And it sounds like you guys are sensing that as you get deeper into it. You're like really feeling out what's what. Have you learned about your own personal taste? Like, I like these particular factors together. And if you have, why those factors?
Good question. I think it's changing all the time because I don't know, sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I really prefer sativas because I feel more energetic with it. But lately I've been gravitating towards a hybrid strain, because it feels somehow more balanced. I don't feel like too sleepy from the indica effect. I guess it's kind of like right in the middle often. But yeah, it definitely just changes over time. And I think it changes maybe even seasonally, or not based on the seasons, but, kind of like different time goes by and you find that certain things are hitting differently at that time in your life. Maybe it has to do with a lot of factors like stress or, other things. But
Yeah, seasonally your mood is just changing.
Yeah.
And it's just like music. Some in the fall you want a certain thing, and in the summer you want a certain thing, and kind of like the style.
Right.
What about for you, Justin?
I think it's interesting looking back at like my history of, smoking, not having access to real information about what you were ingesting or smoking. Maybe you had like a strain name that may or may not have been what it was.
Right.
And reflecting on the different like moments of my life when I remember smoking in this way and feeling this particular way compared to like when I smoked other things and feeling a completely different way. And in the past, I always just related it to my own personal state of mind, perhaps, or I didn't actually think about the cannabis itself as having the effect, or being the culprit for potentially guiding that feeling I was having. The knowledge back, and I'm in high school, so cannabis knowledge, at least where I grew up, was pretty limited. You just had weed, you smoked it, and you got high, and that was pretty simple.
Yeah, very simple.
But the way in which I got high, the different feelings and the different like places it would bring my state of mind were different for sure. So I think it's fascinating now that there's so much more information about the terpenes, the cannabinoid content, like the different strains, like the different lineages and like the history and how that can actually drive your particular mood and like the feeling you're getting from that particular plant.
Yeah.
See, if I had that information in the past, it would have definitely been useful, because I could have avoided some potentially paranoid moments.
Yeah.
But I think it's great that they are like, you can buy a book now and like you can go online and buy a poster that has a chart of all the different like terpenes from different strains that you commonly know and the alleged, I will say alleged because it's not an objective thing, but the typical places it'll bring you if you're high, the mood you want to be in. And I just think that's really fascinating. So I think it's great to look at a strain that like Green Crack was a strain that like was really popular.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, this is great. I like this one. And then looking at like what makes Green Crack its particular thing, like looking at its like terpene content and looking at its like knowing that it's a really hardcore sativa makes sense why I liked it then. So it's like kind of bridging the gap with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I have heard in my research that there isn't really clear proof that sativa has one effect and indica has another effect. But I've noticed in personal use that sativa I really like for getting work done because it feels like an up feeling, but the paranoia and stress of the experience is higher, so you're kind of like trading this off. And then indica, which is commonly the couch type feeling where you're coming way down, you're watching Netflix in your bed, kind of feeling, and you're not doing stuff. And over time, I started to invert them, and I started to look at, can I do as much as I would on sativa on indica? And I think I can, but again, it's just a different experience, a different way of thinking. Maybe it's a slower, more like, I don't know, just like a searching feeling with indica as opposed to like a running towards with sativa.
Yeah. Well, it's what's interesting is like, learning that there's THC, obviously. That's the psychoactive property. But knowing that there's hundreds of other cannabinoids in the plant that are affecting and creating the feeling of that high. Because if you were to like hypothetically just smoke straight THC, like if they extracted it without any other like coupling component, like compound, I have a feeling that would be like it would be more consistent in how you felt compared to like if you took that, this is hypothetically extracted just like THC, which I believe is the same in all plants. There's no difference. It's the same molecule. But what is different is the other combinations of cannabinoids and terpenes inside of it that help change the feeling. So I think if you were to start to introduce different cannabinoids into like this really controlled study, which I don't think they've ever done this that I know of, then we could probably start to figure out a little bit more accurate like what each thing does.
Yeah. Are the oils straight THC, or are they dealing with compounds as well?
They're a little bit of both. Most of them are just like like vapes. You can have certain terpenes in there. Some of them add like CBD or other like CBG, whatever. I think some of them are just straight THC and they just add flavors to them.
Okay.
So I think that's where like a lot of people don't feel as high, quote unquote, when they're vaping certain things, even though it's like 90% THC.
Yeah.
And you could probably smoke like a 20% flower and get way more baked.
Interesting.
And I think it's because there's a lot more information technically going into your body from that plant.
That's a really cool way to put it. I often think about just looking back at being a kid and getting high, and like now the way the percentages have changed. Like now everything can be like super high percentage, and maybe you're smoking less and feeling more, but it seems like I don't know, there's a culture that's brewing where things like this whole, I don't know if you've heard about this cannabis sort of syndrome or whatever, where if you smoke too much weed, then you get this like stomach situation where you continually vomit. Have you heard about this?
I have heard about this. Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, man, I mean, they say chronic users develop this, and it's pretty common. And I'm thinking like I've never ever had a problem. But is it the high percentages that people smoke at now? Because I'm still like in the place where I was when I started, like 20s. Low 20s is fine for me. Sure. But you get up to 40s or something, and you're really blasting yourself away.
Yeah, I think it's pretty high.
Yeah, that's like. But there's a lot of that product out there, right? Do you guys carry that stuff too?
Of course. Yeah, I mean, we have flour, infused flour that goes up to like almost 60%.
Holy moly.
Yeah, I mean, and that's flour. That's not like a distillate or anything, like a concentrate.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty crazy. But I'm not even sure what it means, to be fair. Like when we say percentage, right? Like in THC, is it maybe that like it just has like it's about potency, right? And that's because sometimes a lower THC flower can make a person feel often just as high, as something else that's a higher THC, but maybe the combination of different elements within that particular two strains are so that the higher THC doesn't quite hit you the same way as that lower one perhaps does. I fear, it happens all the time. So I'm not really sure what it truly means. Like we use words like percentage and, but we're just like, it's like a metric we can kind of calculate through like the testing, but what does it really mean and how it really affects your body? I don't truly know.
Yeah.
Is it like a saturation point? I'm not really sure. I haven't done super deep dives on that. So
I feel like many have science has not caught up to use yet. It feels like, like I just heard about, Jesus, like no way to avoid politics, but the study that got buried surrounding alcohol use and cancer, and how like, I don't know, they're just figuring this out. I don't know.
Yeah, I just heard it too.
But it seems like the research on cannabis is like trailing behind, and they're trying to figure out like now that it's legal and people are using more on an everyday basis, what are the effects on the body? And for the most part, I don't see many negative effects, at least where research is now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, because it's a Schedule 1 substance, you can't even readily research it. It's not even available to a lot of
right.
And I don't know how exactly like places like, so some universities have started doing research studies with it, but it's also limited, I think, what they're able to do.
I see. Because the federal law is like they probably won't fund studies on Schedule 1.
Right, because Schedule 1 means there's no therapeutic or like medical use for a product.
Which is crazy.
Of course, is not
bullshit.
Yeah.
What the hell? Yeah. That's really weird.
It is crazy. It's like, and it's clearly anyone who does a little bit of like sleuthing into the history of it realizes it's based off of like political campaigns and racism and like
the
money.
war on drugs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. The DARE program.
And I really do believe that a lot of these plants that are legalized and drugs that are quote unquote bad and illegal probably could be healing for a society like ours right now, like without a doubt.
Yeah, yeah. Do you hear through the back channels if it's coming off of Schedule 1? Is that like the goal in the near future? Or is that like really hard to decipher?
It is hard to decipher. There has been some like recent headlines that it may go like to a vote soon, like within weeks.
Wow.
But I don't know. Yeah, who knows? It could be years, or it may not happen.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Would that open up business for you guys? Like, I think of you as like if I operate in the world of wine, you're like this little curator of like fine wines, and you found, and we're going to talk inventory in a second here, but like, would you could build your brand as someone to trust, to know who to go to and to order from nationally, if it was taken off, decentralized or whatever they call it, off Schedule 1. Do you think you could build a larger national audience with that gone?
Theoretically.
I guess so. Yeah, we would have to, I guess, like branch out and open more stores elsewhere.
At least brings that to it becomes a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we could still theoretically, like, I don't know if there are chains, you know, like there's a few dispensaries that started in one state, got really big and popular, and were able to, you know, when a new state legalized, they were somehow able to get licenses in that state and then continue that as the chain of opening for recreational became illegal. So
Yeah.
it is still possible, but having it federally legal would make it way easier.
Yeah.
It would make it easier for people to pay for it. We can't accept credit, for instance.
right.
Yeah, so it would definitely make it more accessible and safer, less cash, you know.
Are you able to accept Apple Pay or anything like that, or it's just cash?
Cash, debit, and there are some apps that allow you to like pay directly from your bank.
I see. Okay. So yeah, if this happens, I mean, everyone seems to pay with their phone now, and no one carries money.
Right.
And so it would seem like that would open up a huge door for your business.
I think so.
Yeah.
It would just make it easier for consumers, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, because if you buy cannabis at dispensaries, you already know what to expect. You already know what forms of payment most dispensaries allow. It would just make it more convenient for everybody, I think.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, as you guys are, like I was saying, you're building your inventory out on your store. And I got to tell you, everything I've ever had from Mammoth Cannabis tastes great. The flavor of every product I've had, and I've tried quite a few, are all excellent. And I'm curious of your selection process. What is it like to figure out what your customers want, or impart your personality into your menu?
Yeah, that's a great question.
It's a hard process. It goes through a lot of people. You know, all of our bud tenders, all of our owners. You know, we try as much as we can before putting something on the menu. We definitely look for local or regionally grown, you know, organic growing practices if they have them. And yeah, I do think a lot of the flavor can come from the way it's grown. If it's grown organically, if it's grown in living soil, I think there's just more nutrients and just more to it, and it leads to a better holistic product, which creates a better flavor. But it is hard because there's so many brands, especially at first, that come into the store and are trying to get you to carry their items. And we've said no to most of them so far, and we're just trying to grow really slowly, find products that we really like, that we, can stand behind, and so it takes time, I think, to curate that selection. And it's a constant process of refining.
Yeah. Absolutely. Do you guys carry anything that you're like, oh, that's not for me, but there are other people here that really want it?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of product. Well, 'cause there's a lot of different ways you can consume edibles, vape, flower, tablets. You can drink it.
Right.
So
yeah, cannabis
chocolates,
drinks are big now.
Yeah, they're getting quite popular. They do taste delicious. They really nailed the flavor profiles. So we have an iced tea that tastes like it tastes like iced tea. It's like the best tasting iced tea, but it has
It happens to have cannabis in it. THC.
And chocolate is an interesting new kind of edible that I had never seen before in the past.
That feels dangerous though. Like you get a little munchie going, and then you reach for the wrong chocolate. Next thing you know, you're on the moon.
And it's just a cycle.
Yeah, it never ends.
Never ends. So I think as new methods of introducing cannabis into something and new consumption methods evolve, there's always going to be something that's not quite right for somebody too. So, but the good thing is there's so many options now that there's probably a way that it is right for somebody.
Right.
Because some people maybe they smoke their entire life and all of a sudden their throat is becoming sensitive and their doctor's like, you got to stop smoking. But they love cannabis and they love getting high. They can try vaping, which might not be great, but they can try. But if that is too harsh, then they can move into the edible world, and beyond. So there's tablets.
Yeah, this tablet thing's interesting. I've always struggled with the edible version because having been a smoker for so long, it's like I don't know how to dose myself correctly. And I don't know the come up window, like when you're smoking flower, it's like a couple minutes, you're up. You've got like maybe a 2 to 3 hour ride, and you can kind of like space it out what my day is like depending on. And with edibles, I find like, you eat one and then nothing happens and then suddenly it hits you and then you're down again and it's like confusing. So yeah, I guess to each their own in that regard.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is with edibles, even it goes even further in that they have your standard gummy, which you can eat and it just goes into your body and you digest it like normal. It takes whatever, like an hour and a half typically to kick in for most people. But now they have edibles that are nano-infused THC molecules so that it actually bypasses it bypasses the digestion by absorbs into your like stomach lining and your intestinal lining because the THC molecules been like shrank.
Whoa.
So it kicks in faster. It's fast acting stuff. And then what's
cool.
even beyond that is how your body metabolizes THC is different than when you smoke it. I guess it converts it into a higher potency THC, Delta 11. So
During smoking or during eating?
During consumption, if it gets metabolized.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so basically when your body starts breaking it down, like your liver, it converts into like a higher potency THC. So people can overdo it easily with edibles, I think. That's why we recommend like you go really low and slow to start to kind of figure out your dosage.
Yeah.
But, experiment.
Yeah. See how far you can go.
Yeah.
When you dreamed up Mammoth Cannabis, did you want it to represent something beyond just a place to buy weed? I mean, the easy, obvious example to reach for in my book would be live events or something that incorporates the studio into what you're doing there. I don't know. Is that something that's on your mind? Are you thinking about like event type stuff, or what's the plan?
For sure, yeah. I mean, the studio being in the same building as the dispensary, it's on this, kind of dead end street, or not dead end, but it's just one block and it's the whole building.
Yeah, and kind of tucked away from.
We're in the cut.
Yeah. So we definitely do want to start having like like block parties there, and
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
at least once a year. We do want to have more events too. Some of the regulations are you have to just be careful what you do and how you set them up as far as in the cannabis space. But what's nice is we could set up an event for both things outside of the dispensary if we want.
And merge them together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer. Like
Right.
it's part of like, I think the allure. It's something that's exciting too because we do have the studio space so close to the dispensary. We've toyed with the idea of holding events that that cross over, dovetail each other.
Yeah.
But we've been a little bit cautious because of the regulations right now, and this being not even it hasn't even been a full year since we've been open. We're still kind of learning like the whole business and trying to navigate that. So that's it's taken up a bit of time and energy. So I think now that we're feeling more confident, I think this upcoming year will be a really good time to start exploring like creative like spaces within the studio in the cannabis realm. So I think we'll start thinking of ways to hold events. I have some ideas, but I don't know. We'll see.
To be continued.
Yeah.
What's the deal with? So if let's say you had this block party and people wanted to toke up on the street, is that allowed? Like I originally thought when weed was legalized that it would be like cigarettes, but it's really not, right? It's like there are some stipulations to how you consume it publicly and where you are and when, right? Is that am I correct there?
I think it is similar to cigarettes. I don't know where they differ exactly. My recommendation is always just like, be courteous, like don't do it in front of other people that might not want to inhale the smoke, of course. But there's no real enforcement that I've seen, stopping people from smoking it on the street or publicly.
Right.
Just really the regulations, like indoor, I would say mostly, like you can't toke up inside the store, for instance, because
Right.
you would need a separate license for that. But yeah, outside, I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess it's just, if there are regulations, it seems like kind of just
Pretty loose.
Yeah, pretty loose for sure.
I mean, it basically is like if you're not smoking in front of a school and you're not smoking in front of a church and you're on like public property, and there's not like a playground around. I think that's honestly, I think that's like those are the big no-nos.
Yeah.
And if there's specifically a no smoking sign, then I think it's frowned upon. But like if we had a block party, I think there would be no problem with it outside of the dispensary, as long as it's not in the dispensary. Again, like Mike said, you need a particular license for that kind of thing, but I don't think there would be an issue legally. Like,
Yeah.
I think it would be totally fine.
It's just crazy the double standards, between cigarettes and weed and things like that. Like, I'll never forget, I was at Darien Lake watching the Laser Light Show. Remember this?
Yeah.
I love
Super young. My brother and I were there with my mom, and someone was smoking a cig, and they were like gesturing crazy, and they hit my brother in the neck with their cigarette. And it was like this very traumatic experience where everyone was scared. My mom was really upset with the guy. Total, disconnected from the world around him. He wasn't like being courteous like we just explained. But to think that he could stand in the middle of a laser light show with kids all around and smoke the cigarette,
Right.
and weed is like subject to this other thing. It just shows you the layers of like cultural understanding that have to change.
Of course.
Or just the idea of how Dr. Phil it was before, and now how it's like, yeah, everybody can do it. It's fine.
Well, it's literally generations of brainwashing. It's like that's really what it is. It's like you learn in school that it's bad. Your parents learn that, and same thing. Some people's grandparents even, and you live an entire few generations of people that think that and then all of a sudden it changes. It takes time. It's going to probably take as much time as it was illegal for it to like become normal again in society.
Yeah.
So maybe like what it was like legalized in like the 40s or the 20s or something like that.
Right.
So you gotta imagine like 60, 70, 80. I would bet like another like, let's say 50 years from now, maybe it'll be completely normal.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my guess.
Oh, waiting game. It's
Yeah.
a waiting game.
Maybe it has like a doubling rate. Maybe it's faster, twice as fast. But like at least I'm gonna guess like 10 years out, it'll probably be almost like no big thing.
The rate of young people that are stopping drinking and using cannabis is like kind of through the roof.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's a quicker turnaround. Maybe it's 10 years rather than 50, just because there's an
And
understanding.
Different in different places too.
Oh yeah.
Right, because New York it's legal, but a lot of states still aren't, and I think so. Each area kind of probably has its own rate of turnaround.
Yeah, it's pocketed.
But for me, I mean, I know it's legal, obviously, but I still, whenever I smoke, it's like I still want to like hide and like be like, is there anybody around? Okay, I'm good. You know, like I still have that feeling about it. Yeah.
I still have that feeling too, and I'll tell you a big reason why is a story that I share with Justin that I think we should probably walk through on air. We were on tour. We're in West Virginia.
Yes.
And
I know this.
and we got pulled over. And it's funny too because we were on tour with both of our bands, Aircraft and the Malones. And I honestly think you and I are maybe the only smokers
At the time, yeah, we were. Ian was a smoker, I think, as well.
Right, kind of low key though, not
Low
really.
key, yeah. And James maybe took the touch.
Right. But for us, it was like we're bringing weed with us, right?
We brought a lot. I mean, we brought a lot of weed.
We did. We certainly did. And that's why when we got pulled over in West Virginia, of all places, we were like, oh my God, we're going to jail.
It was terrifying.
It was really bad. I mean,
just to interject really
no,
quick.
please do.
The thing that I reflect on the most and like I'm most grateful for is the night before we got pulled over. One of the bands we were playing with related a story to me that they had also toured and brought a lot of weed, and they said they decided to hide it in a Big Muff pedal. And I thought to myself, that's great. And then they told me the story how they got pulled over. The cops searched it. They had the dogs come, but they couldn't find it because they didn't know that you could open a pedal like that.
Yeah.
So
Dumb
I remember
cops.
thinking about that, and then like literally that night before we headed out, the night before we actually got pulled over, I did hide a bunch in the half of it in the Big Muff pedal, and I took the other half and hid it in the Wow.
It's like an armrest.
It was like
or,
in the van, like this bucket seat in the van that was like a lazy boy in like the upholstery.
Yeah,
And it was like bulging out, but it was,
was bulging
beneath,
out.
It was beneath the upholstery.
Yeah.
And it was such a good. They didn't see it.
No, well, the guy, I'll never forget, the guy opens the side door. Well, they already pulled Tyler back to the police car and put him in the back of the car.
Oh yeah.
And we were like, oh man, he's in
we're pulled
trouble.
over. We look suspicious.
Yeah.
The cop put Tyler in the cop car. He isolated him from the rest of us.
Yes, he did.
We're like shirtless, stinky.
Yeah.
The van definitely doesn't have enough seats for all of us to sit legally.
Right. A lot of things to consider illegal on this. And the first thing he said was, if there are any drugs in the car, tell me right now and you won't get in trouble.
I remember that so clearly. And I just thought to myself, oh God, one of these kind of days.
Yeah.
Oh, we all stuck to our guns and we're like, nope, no,
Yeah.
officer, we're good boys.
Yeah, right, that's right. Then we get out of the car and he like searches all of us and grabs us all by the groin, basically.
He was a little handsy.
Yeah, a little bit. And then he's like, okay, go stand. I want all you guys to go stand down the road a ways, maybe like, I don't know, 30 yards away or something.
Yeah.
And we're gonna search the van, and if you have drugs, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
And oh, go ahead.
And he was really nice at first. Like he was like, you won't get in any trouble if you have any drugs. Just let me know right now. It'll just be a slap on the wrist. But if you lie to me,
Yeah, that's right. If
and
you
then
lie to
so
me.
he himself was playing good cop, bad cop in one cop.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. He had like patches of hair missing.
Oh,
It
man.
was nuts looking.
Yeah, that was nuts. And then they start pulling the van apart. And I mean, I'm standing there thinking, there's no way they're not going to find it. It's bulging out of the upholstery.
We have ounces of weed in the van hidden, and it's not just one cop now. There was multiple cop cars.
That's
that
right. A
pulled
lot
up.
of them. Yeah.
I counted over 10 police officers searching the van at one point.
Whoa. Man, so they get through the van, everything's out basically, and they call us back over to it.
And
right?
Brandon and I were standing next to each other the whole time, talking amongst the two of us, saying, "We're gonna go to jail."
Yeah.
Like, and they were like,
We were ready to take the
and
hit,
we were gonna,
basically.
and we decided between the two of us that we were gonna take the fall,
Yeah.
no matter what, because it's our responsibility.
That's right.
And we were scared, and I thought for sure, this is it. This is where this is where tour ends. This is where we go to jail.
Yeah, yeah. Then we get back over there, and he goes, which one of you guys is Ian Belknap? And we're like, what? And Ian's like, oh, that's me. And he's like, come here. And he cuffs him in front of us.
I was so confused.
I know. We were all like, what is happening? Why is he getting pulled away?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess his girlfriend, like the night before he left, put some weed in his bag and with maybe a note that was like for, whenever you want to use this. He didn't even know it was there.
Mm-hmm. And it was the smallest amount. It
Smallest
was like
amount.
It was under like a bud size, I think. It was like just a pinch.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, I was so shocked.
I was shocked.
But I was also very grateful because I'm like,
They might have redirected the search.
Right.
If there
found
wasn't,
something.
they found something
yeah.
and they stopped searching because if
Yeah,
they had,
Mike, you're totally right about that.
exactly, because if they had kept going and they were persistent, I think it would have been it would have been a much severe fine or even like overnight,
Well, I feel like I remember them talking about bringing the dogs out. Like they were saying, we're going to get the canine unit over here and do another search. But the problem was that because it looked so ridiculous, all of us on the side of the road, that traffic had slowed.
Yep.
Right? And it became like a gridlock and everyone's like rubbernecking to see what's going on.
We're on the side of a highway.
Yeah. And I think at that point they were like, they found what they were looking for and they were like, okay, you guys get the hell out of here.
Right.
So we get in the car to get ready to drive away. Ian's in the police car being taken to whatever West Virginia jail.
And we're on tour, so we have a gig that night, and the drummer is now arrested. We're frazzled.
To say
And
the least.
we're like, to say the least. And so we're all sitting there getting ready to pull away.
Yeah, and that's when a motorcyclist who was also rubbernecking the situation didn't realize the traffic had stopped in front of him. I don't know if he slammed on his brakes or he like just didn't hit him at all, and like he just I don't know how you'd explain it. He just was like thrown into the air.
He clipped something, and in front of us, like we're all looking up the front of the van, ready to pull away, and we just see this motorcyclist just get launched off his bike.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen before. And we're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. At that point, I think James said, let's just get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And we got on the road and didn't look back.
Yeah, he may or may not have survived. We do not know.
God, I hope
I hope he did. I think he did, but they're strong.
That's crazy.
in Virginia.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just it was such a spectacle.
It really was.
And I
amount
really
of
felt like it was the
energy.
cops' responsibility. If anything happened to this guy, it's on them.
Yeah, and the good thing there were so many cops there, so he probably got the quickest medical
true.
responses.
That's true.
Yeah.
Then we went to the gig, and it turned out that there were friends coming down to West Virginia to see us play from Buffalo, I think, right? And they picked Ian up on their way.
Yeah.
So we still played the show, and
We
he
still
got
made it. It really worked out, but it was really scary.
The whole tour was like that.
Yeah.
Very scary, but just barely working out.
Very memorable.
Certainly. Thank God weed's legal now. At least if we're driving around New York, that won't happen.
Right.
Let's see here. Okay, I think we've come kind of to the end, and I want to sort of do maybe a zoom out and a big philosophical question to you guys. I mean, if and when Buffalo's cannabis and music culture keeps growing, how do you see yourselves as a part of that story?
That's a really good question. Do you want to go first? Or?
Please.
Well, I would like to be part of it. I'd like to be at the heart of it. I think it makes the most sense that Mike and I, we should be spearheading that, because the obvious connection between us being in bands, knowing a lot of people within bands. We have a recording studio that's connected to the same building as our dispensary. I think it's a perfect pairing. Figuring out how to do that in a way that is just beneficial and building and community building is important for us. We don't want to, I want it to be something that can incorporate all the musicians, but I'm just not sure how to connect the two besides just selling weed to people.
Right.
I'd like Mammoth Cannabis to sponsor musical events as much as possible or be part of it in sponsorship or, in whatever way we can. And now that the regulations have seemed to loosen up a little bit, I think that's definitely within the realm of possibility. Where we don't have to worry so much about getting in trouble, So I think this upcoming year is going to be a big year in thinking about how we can, incorporate the dispensary into the music world in Buffalo. So it's going to be on the mind. Maybe we need to unlock that creative potential,
Yeah.
figure some things out.
Yeah. Smoke some flower and start thinking.
Yeah.
You feel the same, Mike?
Yeah, definitely. I do think we, like Justin said, we've been at it for just under a year now, and I feel like we have our bearings a little bit better, not just kind of going from one thing to another, just trying to make it work. We've gained a little momentum.
Yeah.
I think it's, we exist in this little corner of Buffalo by the river there. And I think we can do a lot with the space outwardly, with events, and just creating a space. I feel like with the studio, we always just try to create a really comfortable environment where people feel at ease and they can be creative, And I think the cannabis store, we're, keeping that mentality. We want people to come in and ask them how their day was and talk to them, make them feel welcome, whatever else is happening in their life. This place is a respite, hopefully, from that. And I think overall, that's just kind of the vibe that we want to generate. We actually, we have the BCAP mural on the building.
That's right.
That was maybe over a year. I can't even remember exactly when that was.
Probably a year now, yeah.
Yeah. And our friend Sarah Berry just finished another mural on the building. So, that whole street can just be an art gallery for murals and music and weed.
Yeah, that's right.
All I have to say is Mammoth Fest 2026
There you go.
makes the most sense.
Wayne Stock.
Right.
That's a great place to leave it. I just really appreciate all the work you guys have done for the community. Mike, you summed it up great there. The feeling I've always had walking into Mammoth was just so welcoming and loving and in support of, vision. Alex Kearns was just here and we were hanging out talking about his experience being at Mammoth, and everybody has good things to say about the place. You guys are doing something right there. So I appreciate you coming on, talking new business ventures, and look forward to what's next.
Thank you, man.
Great. Yeah. Thank you so much.